What is going on, everyone? I just started up, but today we're doing something a little bit different. We are also on TikTok, so if you're watching on TikTok, you can still call into the show. You could still watch on YouTube, doesn't really matter. We're just going to go over spring training starting today. Anything else anyone wants to talk about? Knicks just cannot beat the Pistons, so there's that. Yankees had their first spring training game today. I believe they're still playing right now. I haven't been able to watch that because the Gotham City Sports app is absolutely terrible. I'm sure anyone who uses that can agree. Um, Mets having some injury issues going into spring training, so we'll cover that. And yeah, we'll just get into what everyone wants to talk about. So we'll wait for some people to flow in, and there's that. But if no one has anything to say right now, we will get right into it. So I kind of wanted to talk about what's going on with the Yankees. I went over it a little bit yesterday when I was live, but it's still new. So Aaron Judge had said in his little press conference, whatever you want to call it, that the Yankees haven't done enough uh, with their offseason acquisitions. I kind of agree. I could see where he's coming from, but at the same time, I don't think anyone should look into it too much. We, as fans and media, tend to really try to get stories, especially February 20th. It's a awful time of the year to really get a story in baseball because there's nothing going on. Spring training literally just started today, so it is tough to try to grasp a story. But with all that being said, I think there is something to look into with Judge's comments still, because he's right. The Yankees didn't do enough. Does that mean they're a bad team going into spring training or going into the 2026 season? Not necessarily, because they were the best offense in baseball last year statistically. One move that I really can't get behind is bringing back Paul Oldshit, aka Paul Goldschmidt. I mean, I guess he's there to mentor Rice. I mean, it really shouldn't be that big of a deal when you are, going to start Rice every day. And Goldschmidt's, I guess, going to platoon against lefties. But just shit like that. It didn't make sense. Um, you know, bringing Ahmed Rosario back, it's like cool, whatever. It doesn't really do anything for the lineup at all. Again, can hit lefties, decent glove. I've personally seen enough of Ahmed Rosario in my life to know that it doesn't really matter how good the defense is because the bat is pretty bad. But I guess for the Yankees, he wasn't as bad as he's been in the past. He had a decent year in Washington as well. So, but I mean, that's what we're talking about right now. Like Ahmed Rosario, Paul Goldschmidt. Like, there's really not much to talk about with the Yankees because they didn't do much. Again, I don't know if that's really a bad thing necessarily. They had the best offense in baseball, so how much do you want to add? There is probably a lockout next year, so they don't want to go after Tucker. They didn't want to go after Peralta. They weren't really in on any of the Japanese players that were coming over this year in the draft, or not in the draft, in the international free agent pool, whatever you want to call it. So that's how the Yankees chose to spend their money. They locked up Judge. I don't know if it's more so a problem in locking up Judge is like with spending the money. I don't really think the Yankees care about that much, but I think that Brian Cashman has really shown a reluctance to go out there and give out a big free agent contract, as well as a lot of other owners and GMs, I should say, because aside from the Dodgers and Mets, no one's really handing those out. A couple here and there, Boston signing Ranger Suarez, Orioles signing Pete Alonso. Blue Jays are always in the mix. They never land anyone. But I don't want to talk about those teams. Really what's going on here is that the Yankees aren't the Yankees of the past. In terms of winning, they still win enough. They are still an quote-unquote elite winning franchise. I mean, even though you're not winning a World Series, you are still making the playoffs every year, so you're giving yourselves a shot. I would like to hear from Yankee fans to see what's going on, how they feel, how Yankee fans feel about what's going on in the world right now for them. Because personally, as a non-Yankee fan, as just an enjoyer of baseball and a Met fan, as you could see, I don't really see them as a scary team. And that's not me being biased. That's not me not liking the Yankees or wishing that they're bad, even though sometimes I do. But that's not my goal here. I just genuinely looking at it from a baseball perspective. I'm not calling them a bad team per se. I'm just saying that when you look at a team like the Dodgers and even the Blue Jays in their own division, I don't think that they are on par with those teams. I don't think that Judge is enough. I mean, Jazz is definitely fitting himself in quite nicely. I don't think that he will go 50-50, like he said. If anyone had seen the initial reports, the comments he made to a reporter were something along the lines of, Shohei had a 50-50 season, you're looking at the next guy to have it. I like the confidence, but I actually really don't like the confidence, Jazz Chisholm, because the guy's a prick, to be quite honest with you. But that's just me being biased. Now I'll admit I'm being biased. He's a great player. So, will he go 50-50? No. But Jazz is, for sure a 30-30 kind of guy. He can 1,000% go 30-30. So when you have a guy like him in front or behind Judge, I don't think it really matters too much. Again, will old shit be in the lineup every day? You'd hope not. Austin Wells is really bad, has been really bad so far in his MLB career. So it's I don't know. This Yankees team leaves a very big question mark. Will they be bad? No, they'll win 90 games as per usual, 90 plus. I'd be shocked if they didn't. The rotation. I wanted to get into the rotation a bit too, because I talked about the lineup a lot yesterday. The Yankees' rotation is what sets them apart and is what's making, as Vegas says that they have the second best odds to win the World Series. That's what's standing out. You're getting Garrett Cole back. Schlittler looked unbelievable last year. You still got Gill. You still got Rodon. These are, we always compare these teams to the Dodgers. How are they going to match up with the Dodgers? You can't do that, because if you are comparing a team, even like the Yankees, who are second favorites to win the World Series, if you are comparing a team to the Dodgers, you just can't, because at this point, what the Dodgers have built is a super team. We haven't seen super teams in the MLB since the Yankees in whatever it was, 97 to those early 2000s years. But putting the Dodgers aside for a second here, looking at this Yankees rotation, you say, this might be the best rotation in baseball outside of the Dodgers. That's the problem I think a lot of Yankee fans have had with this offseason, is that, sure, it's good, and it might even be the best in baseball outside of the Dodgers, but that's the problem. It's not better than the Dodgers. I'm not personally saying that the Yankees should have traded for Peralta or, overpaid for Cease or someone like that, or Framber. All I'm saying is that they have a good enough rotation. Is it good enough to beat the Dodgers? I don't think anything's good enough to beat the Dodgers right now, but that's asking a lot, because, again, this Dodgers team is maybe the greatest team we've ever seen on paper. What are you going to do? With that being said, are they beatable? 1,000,000% they are beatable. Yeah, Liam, let him know, big fella. So it's just not good enough. Is anyone good enough in the AL? No, that's where the good thing is for the Yankees, because the good part about being in the AL right now, which the Yankees are, is that you don't have to beat the Dodgers to make the World Series. You have to get through Toronto, which, listen, they had a great year. I wouldn't really call it a miracle run. They are built for long-term success. But a team like Baltimore, if I'm the Yankees, they don't really scare me too much. because that rotation is maybe one of the worst in baseball. Maybe if Trevor Rogers can repeat the season he had last year, that's a big plus for them, Zach Eflin. But they don't really scare me that much. I think Adley's a bit overrated. Boston had one of the worst off seasons I've seen in quite a while. Ranger Suarez was a great signing, but I don't really think that's really going to do anything for them, especially with letting Bregman go and the whole Devers fiasco last season, which, well, total disaster. But I don't know. This Yankees team is definitely good enough to win in the AL. Not good enough to beat the Dodgers, but again, I don't know how many times that anyone could say it. It doesn't really matter how good anyone is, because beating the Dodgers just seems impossible right now. We're talking, what is it, February 20th, right? And we are talking about how impossible the Dodgers are to beat. I don't want to make this a Dodgers show. I feel like I do it every single time I go live because it's just so hard not to talk about. But, the Yankees window right now is closing. It's not closed yet, but Stanton's still on payroll for, 2 or 3 years? Maybe someone can correct me. That's a Yankee fan in here. But, it almost brings a smile to my face. I hate to say it. But, again, this is me being biased now. The window's closing. Do they have a chance to win this year? Absolutely. A lot of people feel like they might be wasting Judge's prime. That's another topic I wanted to go over today because I see some people saying that Judge's prime is being wasted. I wouldn't necessarily say it's being wasted. They are giving Judge a shot every single season. They make the playoffs, and that's really all you could ask for because just get that guy into the playoffs and you have a chance. But I would say wasting a career is like what the Mets did to David Wright, what the Mets did to DeGrom. Like, that's wasting a career. The Yankees actively win. So while they maybe didn't add, and this brings us all back to the beginning of the conversation here on this live of Judge saying that maybe they didn't do enough, or not that they didn't do enough, but maybe that they didn't, or in the beginning of the offseason, I should say. Let's start there. He had told management, listen, we're the New York Yankees, let's go add. That, you can interpret that how you feel. I personally took that as we haven't done shit in the past couple seasons, and now our window is closing. The Dodgers are only going to get better, and other teams as well, like the Orioles and the Blue Jays, like we just spoke about. So let's go add. They didn't necessarily add. It was just, Cody Bellinger again, and Paul Oldshit again, and Ahmed Rosario again. So when you add Paul Oldshit and you re-sign Cody Bellinger, and that's what you're looking at. It's hard to be confident, but again, I'm repeating myself a little bit here. The AL is wide open, so there is no point to worry about it too much because just get this Yankees team into the playoffs, and they really, really, really shouldn't have a problem. Been yapping about the Yankees on here for a little bit now, so if anyone wants to comment, call up. You can, let me know how wrong I am or however you feel about the team, but we are going to switch over to the Mets. The Mets are, I don't know, the biggest question mark maybe of the entire offseason. Hi, are you taking song requests? No, because I am pretty much technology. I'm terrible with TikTok Live. This is like my literally second time going on TikTok Live, so I wouldn't even know how to do it. I'm very sorry. I'll learn for you next time. But the Mets are the biggest question mark of the offseason. Will Robert be that guy? Because Robert could either be a game changer for this team. Luis Robert Jr. could be a game changer for the Mets, or Luis Robert Jr. could just be a glorified Tyrone Taylor in center field, and then you have two Tyrone Taylors on the team. It could go one of two ways with him. Lindor is probably going to miss the first week or so, maybe 2 weeks, maybe even the first month, depending on how he recovers. I had a couple people ask me, where I think, or who I think I should say, is going to lead off for the Mets in 2026 while Lindor is out. Who do I personally think should lead off for the Mets while Lindor misses time is Bo Bichette. I saw some people say Luis Robert. I just talked about him. We'll get into that in a second. I could see maybe someone like Polanco leading off, but not really. I think the simple answer is Bo Bichette leading off. Bo Bichette is that contact, not speed, but contact hitter. He's going to fight all the time. If you are a Blue Jays fan, which I doubt any Blue Jays fans are watching this, but if you are a Blue Jay fan, you can attest to the fact that he works the count. Bo Bichette is going to get into 8-pitch at-bats, 9-pitch at-bats, and he is going to work the count. That's what you want out of your leadoff hitter. You want him on first base. On the flip side, Bo Bichette is batting .391 with runners in scoring position since the start of last season. So it's kind of hard to lead someone like that off. You want him up when runners are on base. So Lindor being out for the first couple weeks might be a bigger story than a lot of people want to admit. Because although it's, first week or two, Lindor is your stereotypical leadoff man. He's going to do what he has to do. Yes, he strikes out a little bit more than you'd like, but he's comfortable hitting leadoff. We've seen that over his Mets career, opposed to him batting third. So, do I think it's that big of... it's tough, because those first 2 weeks, people want to say, listen, it's only 2 weeks, but it's 2 weeks. Those are big 2 weeks, because you need to win ball games. As you could see, the Braves started off 0-5 last season, and they failed to make the postseason. I think 4 teams ever in MLB's history had started off 0-6 or 0-7, whatever it was, and had went on to make the playoffs. So having your best lineup and roster out there and healthy for the first 2 weeks is a big, big thing. If Lindor has to miss a month and the Mets struggle and they can't find that leadoff hitter and that kind of affects the lineup and things, that's not going to be ideal for the Mets. I don't want to overreact, but this Mets team is not really built right now to be in a spot to lose Lindor for any period of time. If you want to tell me I'm overreacting because it's only going to be a week or two, I completely understand. But if you told me that the Mets started off, 2-8 because Lindor's not there, it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me at all, actually. So, I don't believe that it's that big of a talking point. I don't believe it's that big of a storyline, but I do believe that it is something worth checking in on and worth keeping a note of. So yeah, there's that. What else did I want to talk about with the Mets? I talked about Brett Beatty yesterday. I talked about Mark Vientos a little bit yesterday. You know what I wanted to talk about? I wanted to talk about Francisco Alvarez, one of the most interesting points of this season. Francisco Alvarez is going to be held back from spring training activity. Carlos Mendoza had reported a couple days ago that not that he's hurt, I wouldn't say, but that he isn't fully ready. So Francisco Alvarez is going to miss some time to start spring training, or he's not going to play in every single spring training game. Again, is that the biggest talking point in the world? No, because we are in spring training. It doesn't really matter that much. But if we are talking about Francisco Alvarez, and we are talking about the impact he is going to make this year, he, A, has to be healthy, and B, has to be comfortable at the plate. Because Francisco Alvarez has changed his batting stance about 19 times, was the former number 1 prospect in baseball. He's got the power. We have yet to see an ounce of it. Maybe in 23, he hit, 23, 24 home runs. But we didn't really get a chance to see what he could really do. And I don't know if we ever will. This might be a make or break season for Francisco Alvarez. Listen, I want nothing but the best for Francisco Alvarez, because Francisco Alvarez works he works harder than anyone in the MLB. That guy gives 155% every time he's on the field. If he has to rehab, he got sent down to AAA last year. He was very welcoming of it. He said, maybe this is what I need. Maybe this is something that will improve my swing. So Francisco Alvarez is coachable. That's the best thing you could ask for out of any player in any sport, that they are coachable. Sometimes that doesn't matter as much, because whether it be a mental thing or a literal physical thing, as it has been with Alvarez in the past, he had about 9 injuries to his hand last year. A lot of factors play into having a great Major League Baseball career or in any sports career. A lot factors into it. Will Francisco Alvarez be a talking point for the Mets this season is the main question. I can't give an answer to that yet. And yes, exactly. I cannot give an answer to that yet, because he hasn't shown it yet. This goes for a lot of players on the Mets. This is what I'm talking about here. Brett Baty, Mark Vientos, Francisco Alvarez, even Ronnie Mauricio, if someone misses time and he has to step in. Like, these are guys that you can't afford to have. They can't afford to have another bad season. The Mets cannot afford them to have another bad season. And I like Brett Baty. I like Mark Vientos. I like all of these guys. I think, personally, from watching them and keeping up with their AAA stats, keeping up with their Major League stats, keeping up with everything about them, their swings, I'm very into these, advanced analytics a little bit. Mark Vientos and Brett Baty, they swing the bat very fast. That is something you like. I know it sounds a little childish. They swing the bat fast. Who cares? You have to swing hard in order to make hard contact. These are things. Bat speed is what is measured. So Brett Baty had amazing bat speed last year. Mark Vientos had amazing bat speed last year. They were both barreling balls at a decent clip. Like, these are things you look at to say, like, hey, this guy might not be too bad. But really, all of that, and like I said, I listen to advanced analytics a little bit. I like to look at them. I like to get a grasp of who these guys are as players, and even if they're making outs, is it solid contact? Are they putting up good at-bats? Are they seeing a lot of pitches? Are they hitting breaking balls? Those are things to look at, don't get me wrong. But until you show me the results, that's all peanuts. I don't care. I will argue with anyone on this, because you could show me 1,000,005 advanced analytics stats, and I agree that they are good to look at to see where a player is at. But when you are looking at someone like Brett Baty, who says, hey, listen, this guy's finding a lot of barrels, and he's swinging pretty hard. He's got a good bat speed. That's great. Awesome. But until he puts together a full season of, let's call it an 800 OPS. Give me 25 home runs with an 800 OPS. Then we could talk. Because the rest is peanuts. A lot of things are relying on these guys being good for the Mets. And I think a lot of Met fans don't want to admit that. And listen, as anyone could watching this on either TikTok or YouTube right now could see, I am a Met fan. And I have been optimistic throughout this offseason. I haven't been a follower in the sense of this team isn't good enough. I think the Mets and David Stearns have put together a good enough team to compete next season. But there's a lot of underlying factors here. Like, this isn't a team where you could blindly say, I fully trust that this team is going to be good. And if you do, that is great. And I can get behind that as well. But this team will only be good if guys like Francisco Alvarez perform, like Brett Baty and Mark Vientos, and like I even mentioned, Ronnie Mauricio, if he gets the playing time. So, a lot of things are at stake here for the New York Mets. I don't believe that it should be that much of an issue. I think that this Mets team has been built to hit the ball well. I think this Mets team is built to pitch okay. We could talk about the rotation, too, if anyone here on TikTok or YouTube would like to call in. Number is down below, 718-569-7318. But listen, I don't think the Mets rotation, I've been talking about the lineup, I don't think the Mets rotation is as bad as people think. That was a big talking point last offseason. And scratch Peralta. Scratch Peralta from the equation. I don't think that, listen, Peralta was a big ad. But Peralta was kind of the icing on the cake for this Mets starting rotation. You now have McLean at probably as your number 2 starter. You now have, I would say, Kodai Senga's the 3, just going off prior success he's had in the MLB. I would slot maybe Minaya in there at 4 and Clay Holmes there in at the 5. Whether they run a 6-man rotation, that's up to the Mets. I do think it's smarter to run a 6-man rotation if you are the New York Mets because it, A, keeps everyone healthy, and B, it gives guys like Clay Holmes, if he can only go 5 and his arm's still not ready to go the distance and go deep into ball games, the next day, or I'm sorry, not the next day, that if you're running maybe a 6-man rotation, a guy like Tobias Myers, who maybe had a scheduled start the next day, he could come in long relief and you could just go back to your regularly scheduled programming the next day. So like I said, if I had to lay out what I personally would do with this Mets rotation, if I had to run a 6-man, I would say it would be Freddie Peralta. I would say it would be Nolan McLean. I'd say it would be, I would say Senga 3. I would put Senga at number 3. Clay Holmes 4, Sean Manaea 5, David Peterson 6. If you wanted to throw Tobias Myers in there, who was acquired with Freddie Peralta in that Brewers trade, then I'd say go for it because he has shown that he is quite the pitcher in first 2 years in the MLB. He a lot has been asked for out of Tobias Myers from the Brewers. He started in 24, was in the bullpen last year, has already said he's open to whatever the Mets are hoping to give to him next year. So, listen, a lot is at stake for this Mets team. I've said it about 3 times already this live stream. I think a lot relies more on the lineup than it does the rotation. As I talked about, I think this is a solid rotation. I think that Minaya can be an awesome 4-starter. I think that Clay Holmes could be an awesome 5-starter. I think that this pitching depth has gone into a very, I'd say not controversial, but a lot of people don't believe in this Mets rotation. I personally do. I don't think the rotation's a problem. I think they have plenty of depth out of this rotation. And if anyone here on TikTok is watching, I see we have a couple of people in here. We also are live on YouTube. If you want to call up, the number is 718-569-7318. But yeah, that's where we stand with this Mets rotation. Am I saying that it's the best rotation in baseball? Not even close. Am I saying that it's the best in the National League? Not really. I don't think that this Mets team is the best rotation in the National League either. All I'm saying is, if the lineup does what it has to do, guys like Clay Holmes had shown that they could get people out. That's what you need to do. I don't care. That's another thing that I was just talking about with the advanced analytics with the hitting. And that's not to say I don't look at them, because I understand them and I look at them. I really, really do. But that's not to say that when you watch the game, the eye test is what people call it. When you watch the game, you go, hey, look, he got an out. That's all I care about, man. I don't care if Clay Holmes struck out 19 batters, and I don't care if Clay Holmes got 19 ground outs. I don't care if they were hard hit and the Mets made the plays behind them. That's what you improve the defense for. I don't care if 19 balls were hit to the warning track. All I care about is get outs. If the Mets could score 3 to 4 runs every game, and guys like David Peterson and Sean Manaea and Clay Holmes, you don't need them to have these miraculous starts. That's what I think was missing a little bit. There was so much pressure on these guys last season to where they felt that they had to go deep into the game because no one was going deep into games. And the bullpen was taxed beyond belief, and, they felt the pressure, especially towards the end of the year with a guy like Peterson, he was all over the place. But if I'm the pitching coach or any sort of coach in that Mets locker room, I'm saying, listen, man, get me outs. I don't care how you do it. I don't care how hard they hit it. I don't care how many barrels that you miss. Don't walk anyone and get me outs. This lineup is good enough, like we just talked about, to get us 3 or 4 runs, get us outs. I'm not saying that that's an easy thing to do in Major League Baseball. These guys are phenomenal baseball players. But when I say I believe in this rotation, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that I believe that the depth that the Mets have in the starting rotation department is good enough to get outs. They have veterans around the guys like McClain to really he's not gonna be on every game. I mean, maybe he will be, but he's gonna have bad starts. It's only natural. But you'll have someone like Sean Manaea who not the greatest career, but who is stuck around enough to be like, yo, listen, whatever he has to say to him, to get his head in the right spot, to make Nolan McClain as available as possible. Keep yourself healthy. Keep yourself going long into ball games. I know some of you will probably say that Sean Manaea is not the one to do that because, he was awful last year. But you get my point here. They have enough guys here to where things won't be that bad in the starting to pitching department. Hopefully. I know Kodai Senga was awful last year. I know he wasn't missing barrels. I know he was walking everyone under the sun. But, shit happens, if we're being quite honest. I think Kodai Senga's got the talent, and he's got the movement on his pitches. Again, this is where the advanced analytics come into play here. But yeah, it's not an easy task to get outs in the MLB, but this Mets team has what it takes to do that. I don't want to blabber too much about this rotation. I've been talking about them for quite a while here. But yeah, Mets and Yankees going into spring training, I think, are very similar. I think that the Yankees are, as much as it pains me to say, I think the Yankees are a better team than the Mets right now. And that's not really on paper. I think on paper the Mets maybe beat them in a couple departments, but I think that the Yankees have a better vibe, better... I don't even know what you would call it. Just a better feel around them. They're the New York Yankees. They have a winning culture there. They have Aaron Judge, who is the best hitter in baseball. Mets, while Juan Soto is that good, he's not Aaron Judge level good. So there's that. We have been yapping here for almost 40 minutes. So if anyone would like to call in, the number is down below, or if you're watching on TikTok, the number is 718-569-7318. Or if you're watching in the future and you don't want to leave a comment, I'm always more than happy to talk to you guys and hear whatever you guys have to say about what's going on, or just your opinions on what's going on. And here's a call right now. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
What's going on, man? How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, how are you? What do you want to talk about? Mets, Yankees, Knicks? What are we calling up about?
Calling about the Mets.
All right, let's hear it.
Well, at the beginning of the offseason, I did not like it at all. I was very disappointed.
Yeah, I was as well, but
as the season went on, or as the offseason went on, I felt a little bit of hope, and I feel like now we have a little bit more of a shot. And I think as long as we play it right and we don't mess up right after the All-Star break, I think we got a shot at it.
Listen, I think that the Mets, I think they have a shot, but I don't think that they improved as much as people think. But I don't know. I would love to hear what you would have to say about it. Like, who specifically do you think is really the X factor? Who's the game changer for the Mets this season? Your thoughts flipped around.
Well, I mean, who we gave away, I didn't like at all. I mean, obviously losing Alonzo was
Of course.
hurting us a lot, and especially losing Nemo, he was like the heart of the team.
I don't
So
think
now
Nemo's
it's
too
really,
bad of a loss, but yes, no, it definitely hurts the locker room to lose a guy like Nemo.
but I mean, now we just really have to rely on Lindor to help lead this team, especially with the younger guys with Carson Benj in the outfield now. I'm excited about him. And I think some of the guys we picked up, I mean, Bo Bichette, he's a great addition. I mean, Marcus
Awesome.
Semien, I mean,
So,
awesome players. And
well, let me ask you this: do you think Carson Benj is gonna start for the Mets? Because it sounds like you're a younger Met fan. It sounds like you're getting into the team here at a young age, which all the power to you. It's gonna be a tough ride, but do you think Carson Benj is gonna make this opening day roster here?
I mean, I'm pretty confident in him. I mean, I saw him down in the minors when he was up. I live in Pennsylvania, so
Oh,
I go
okay,
see when
okay.
the
So
Iron Pigs
you went to
win the
a minor
Mexican.
league went to a minor league game.
Yeah, and I see
Okay.
Carson Benz down there, and he looks like he can be future major league material. Obviously, right at the start, he's not going to be. He's got to get comfortable first, but I see a lot of potential in him, and I think he can become one of the Mets' best center fielders that they've had in a
Hey,
while.
listen, I think that if he does come up, he's probably going to play like left or right, but he will eventually play center. Yeah, that's actually cool to hear that you got to watch him firsthand. Was it a triple A game or a double A game? Like was it with the
Triple
Rumble
A,
Pony
yeah,
triple A? He was with the Syracuse Mets.
yeah.
And where in who were they playing? That you saw it in Pennsylvania, or you went to travel to Syracuse to watch them?
Yeah, I was in Pennsylvania. That's like right around here. We live right by Coca-Cola Park where the Iron Pigs play.
Okay, they
So
are. That's the
whenever
Phillies,
they're in
right?
town,
Yeah, the Phillies are the
yeah.
Iron Pigs. Okay, okay, okay. So yeah, all right. So that I mean that's cool. If you saw him firsthand, I personally, I don't get to watch Syracuse Mets games. So listen, if that's the consensus around this guy, a lot of people are believing in Carson Bench. So I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right.
Funny thing is too, when we were down there, he broke his bat, and then at the end of the game, I got to take a picture with him, and he gave me his broken
Did he
bat.
sign the bat for you?
No, he didn't actually. Unfortunately, they lost the game, so they were like pretty disappointed and stuff.
Okay,
But
okay. But that's
yeah,
all
I did
right.
get the bat. So.
That's all right. That's all right. Well, listen, man. I appreciate you calling up, and happy to hear that you're a young Met fan. Hopefully that they can win early on in life for you, so you're not struggling like I am to just craving a win. But yeah, thanks for calling up, and we'll let you go now. All right.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you. So there we have a young Met fan. Godspeed to him. God, I hope they could win for him this year, guys. This is the 40th year anniversary of the New York Mets not winning a championship. Hopefully, in the next 40 years, I mean in the next in the next year, they could bring one home for us. If we have to wait another 40 again, I might just destroy everything in my room and just give up on sports and life. Stockwell16 and Stockwell16, thank you so much. That was me. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for the call, buddy. Yeah, so it's definitely a make or break year for the Mets. I would actually like to hear other people's opinions here on YouTube and in the TikTok comments on if the Mets don't win this year, what's going to happen? Like, is it really just like jump ship at that point? Like, do you just let Bichette go? Do you let Robert go and then just try to sign more players? I know we have the lockout looming next year, but same thing with the Mets and the Yankees here. Deanna says we riot. Yeah, probably. We're gonna have to riot if the Mets don't win this year. I wouldn't say even this year. Within the next 5. Steve Cohen, when he bought the team, said that we have 5 years guaranteed, and we're winning a World Series. I believe we're past that 5-year mark at this point. So it's been too long. It's been too long. This Mets team is built to win right now. I know on paper they are not really matching up with the Dodgers as well as people would like. But I think we saw firsthand there from our young Met fan that that people are believing. People are believing. And Stockwell on TikTok says they're going to have to make some longer contracts. It doesn't work out this year, or we're going downhill. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if the Mets and David Stearns are crazy about long contracts, as we've seen. They didn't want to pay Alonso. They didn't want to pay. They did want to pay Diaz, but that's another story. They didn't want Nimmo's contract. The contracts that they did hand out this offseason have been opt-outs. Bo Bichette is an opt-out deal. That's most likely, a lot of people are not realizing that too. Bo Bichette is most likely a one-year deal. Robert is, or Robert, however you want to say his name, that most likely is a one-year deal, even though he is has a team option for next year, I believe. But so that could be two. But the main premise of this team has been one-year contracts. Peralta is a rental. Bo Bichette is a rental. Robert is most likely a rental. The only players locked up long-term right now are Lindor and Soto, and players on their rookie deal. But those are expiring sooner than people think. So this Mets team has limited opportunities to win within these next 5 years. I think next year is a real make-or-break year. I think if the Mets don't make the playoffs next season, that is going to be a real head-scratcher for the front office because they felt they have done enough this offseason. They have felt that they have put together a good team. So if this fails, if everything fails, and they fail to make the playoffs again, I think major changes are coming. Mendoza will 1,000% be out. He is on the hot seat. I think that we are potentially, if the Mets don't make the playoffs this year, looking at a Lindor trade. As crazy as that is to say, I think if the Mets do not make the playoffs this year, Lindor could be on the chopping block because it would pretty much, you would have to just start over if the Mets don't make the playoffs this year. We are almost about an hour in. If anyone wants to call in here on TikTok or YouTube, the number's down below, but it's 718-569-7318. I don't know how much longer we're going to stay on here. So if anyone wants to get their last-second questions in, last-second comments in, last-second calls in, I'd be more than happy to take them before we end for the day here. Let's see if we got any comments here on TikTok. Just the same ones from before. So that looks like it's it. Do we have any comments here on YouTube? Let's see. No, all good. All right, so that's that. Thank you for everyone who watched and commented today. We had our young Met fan Nick call in and talk about the Mets a little bit, so that was good. Most likely we'll be live again tomorrow. So I'll post. So maybe about 7. Get a little later in the day here. It is 3:40. It's a bad time to go live. So that's that. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.